Betrayal and Payback. Chapter 1. The Call That Sparked My Revenge. Mr. Hayes, this is corporate security. We know what you did. Those 9 words spilled from Marcus's cell at 6:07 a.m. like hot grease on bare feet. He sat upright on his sagging mattress in Magnolia Heights, Mississippi, sweat already rolling in the June heat. Zoe, his 6-year-old, still snored under a blanket printed with cartoon peaches. Rochelle, his wife, scrolled TikTok beside him, headphones in, oblivious. "Excuse me," Marcus rasped, voice cracking like a teenager's. "Pack your desk, you're done." Click. He stared at the screen, waiting for a follow-up. Just kidding. Nothing. The bedroom fan wobbled overhead, squeaking in a rhythm that suddenly sounded like bro-K, bro-K. Rochelle slid off her earbuds. "Everything cool?" "Got an early prank call," he said, forcing a chuckle. "Probably Devin being stupid again." The lie tasted like battery acid, but he wasn't about to panic his Instagram queen wife before coffee. 40 minutes later, Marcus stepped into the Ajax solar lobby, tie crooked optimism hanging by dental floss. HR didn't even offer a seat. They slapped a termination packet on him like a parking ticket. Accused of skimming 50 grand from vendor rebates, digital breadcrumbs proved it. Marcus wanted to yell, "I can barely count my own pennies, let alone 50 G's. But his throat jammed shut. Back outside, the sun roasted the pavement, cicadas squealed, and his 14-year-old minivan wheezed like an asthmatic donkey. He fired it up anyway and called Rochelle. Voicemail. "Babe, slight change. I'm coming home early, don't freak." Zoe greeted him at the front door, clutching a half-built Lego tower. "Daddy, why you home before lunch?" "Surprise vacation, kiddo." He tapped her nose. "Unlimited snack policy starts now." She cheered, unaware the pantry held one lonely sleeve of crackers. Rochelle emerged in full makeup and heels sharper than her attitude. "Marcus, rent's due Friday. Tell me surprise vacation is code for promotion." He tried humor. "Yep, promoted. Straight to unemployment. Fancy, huh?" She didn't laugh. "I knew something was off when you burned the eggs last week. Stress makes you sloppy." Then quieter. "I can't live broke, Mark." Thunder grumbled outside even though the sky was blue. Mississippi weather loved drama. Rochelle grabbed her suitcase from the closet, apparently pre-packed. "Wait, you'd already planned to bounce?" She shrugged. "A girl's gotta think ahead. I'm taking Sierra to my cousins in Atlanta. You and Zoe, figure it out." "Wow, cold," he muttered. "Colder than an empty bank account." She kissed Zoe's forehead, ignored Marcus's, and rolled out, leaving the scent of coconut lotion and betrayal. Zoe's big brown eyes puddled. "Daddy, are we gonna be okay?" Marcus forced a grin. "Baby, your dad's tougher than gator hide. We'll be better than okay." Inside, though, panic break-danced across his ribcage. That night he lay on the couch, counting ceiling stains, phone buzzing every few minutes with texts from unknown numbers saying things like, "Thief," and "Hope the cell bars match your suit." He finally silenced it, looked at Zoe sleeping on the recliner, and whispered, "They think they buried me, but they forgot I'm a seed." Outside, streetlights flickered like they were in on the joke. Marcus vowed right then, whoever framed him would learn a Magnolia Boy's revenge blooms slow but blossoms wide. Chapter 2. The Brick That Broke the River. Marcus woke before dawn to the sound of his stomach grumbling like an angry choir. The house felt different without Rochelle's peppermint-scented candles. Instead, it smelled of dust and desperation. Outside, the magnolia leaves rattled in a humid breeze that carried gossip from the riverfront. Ajax Solar had already hired a replacement, Devon, the office prankster. That stung worse than a bee in church. "Daddy, the cereal tastes like cardboard," Zoe said, poking her spoon at the empty bowl. There was no cereal, just imaginary flakes. Marcus winked. "Cardboard's high in fiber, champ," and she giggled so hard she forgot she was hungry. Down on River Street, gold lights spilled over rusted cranes and broken pavement. Big Earl, a 6'5" foreman with biceps like Thanksgiving hams, pointed at Marcus. "You looking for work or directions to the pity party?" Marcus lifted his chin. "I'm looking to sweat, sir." Earl tossed him a pair of busted gloves. "Then quit flapping and start stacking." Bricks were heavier than regret. By noon, Mississippi heat painted dark waves on the air, and Marcus's shirt clung to him like wet napkins. Yet every slap of brick on mortar felt like therapy. He cracked jokes between loads. "These blocks got more attitude than my ex-landlord." And the crew cackled loud enough to shake the river barges. Humor kept him moving, and kept the foreman noticing. At break time, Earl lit a cheap cigar and squinted. "College boy, why you slinging blocks instead of pushing spreadsheets?" Marcus hesitated, then told a trimmed-down tale, framed at Ajax, broke, raising a kid solo. Earl grunted. "River's full of gators and saints, son. Sometimes they wear the same skin. Keep your eyes open." He flicked ash that landed like punctuation on the dusty ground. That evening, Marcus scooped Zoe into the minivan. The gaslight glared orange, but Zoe beamed, holding a stray kitten she'd found by the site. "His name's Lucky." Marcus sighed. Another mouth, but he couldn't crush her joy. "Guess Lucky better learn to eat cardboard too." At home, a fat envelope waited in the mailbox. Marcus braced for a final notice, but inside were 50 crisp dollars and a note. "Saw you busting it today. Respect. Earl." Marcus laughed, loud and shaky. $50 wouldn't fix life, but it proved strangers sometimes wore halos under hard hats. Later, while cicadas whined bedtime hymns, Marcus told Zoe an old Delta proverb. "When the river steals your paddle, carve a new one from its driftwood." She didn't fully get it, but she smiled and fell asleep. Kitten curled at her feet. Marcus stepped onto the porch, moonlight glinting off the river like spilled silver. He whispered to the night, "I'll carve a fleet if I gotta." In that stillness he felt a shift, small but sure, as if the universe slid one brick into place for him. Moral of the night: the river may roll crooked, but a steady hand can stack hope higher than water ever rises. Chapter 3. The storm that bared the roots Saturday came in loud, thunder drumming the tin roof like a street drummer hustling for tips. Marcus woke to the crash and smelled rain mixing with river mud. An earthy scent that reminded him of his grandma's stories about storms peeling lies off a town the way lightning strips bark. Zoe shuffled in, hair puffed like a dandelion. "Dad, Lucky knocked over the trash again." The kitten skittered past with a chicken bone twice his size. Marcus chuckled. "Even trash got dreams, baby." They reached the job site just as the sky ripped open. Big Earl waved from a tarp-covered scaffold. "College rain bonus, double pay if you ain't scared of a little wind." Marcus strapped on his gloves. "Sir, I'm more scared of my landlord." Half the crew bailed after the first lightning strike. Marcus kept stacking, boots sinking in red clay, water dripping down his nose. He sang off-key gospel to keep rhythm. Across the yard, A petite woman in a neon vest sketched foundation lines on a clipboard, curls plastered to her cheeks. When she slipped in the mud, Marcus sprinted over, caught her elbow before she face-planted. "Guess I should have worn my floaties," she laughed. Her name was Lena Price, site architect on a visit from Jackson. She flashed a grin that warmed him better than coffee. Earl hollered, "Quit flirtin', Romeo. Bricks ain't gonna stack themselves." Marcus winked at Lena. "Duty calls. Rain check?" She rolled her eyes. "Corny but sure." By noon, the river had bulged over its banks, shoving driftwood toward town. Earl blew his whistle. "Sandbag line! Move! Move!" They formed a human chain, passing 50-pound bags like they were baby cousins at a family cookout. Marcus noticed a silver sedan fishtailing near the edge. Devin from Ajax wearing a fancy suit, cell phone glued to his ear. Devin popped the trunk, yanked out documents and hurled them into the water. One paper slapped against a piling, Ajax vendor ledger. Marcus's pulse spiked, so that's where the breadcrumbs started. He slogged through knee-deep water, snagged the sodden page, stuffed it inside his shirt. Devin spotted him, eyes bugging. "Mind your business, brick boy." He sped off, tires spraying dirty water. Marcus whispered, "Gotcha, clown." Back under the scaffold, Earl clapped him on the shoulder. "You just wrestled the river for paper?" Marcus shrugged. "Sometimes evidence floats." He explained the framing, showed Earl the smeared ledger. Earl whistled. "If river water can't wash that ink, maybe truth won't wash off you either." Lena brought them thermoses of sweet tea. Rain finally eased, clouds unzipping to let gold sun pour over puddles like syrup on hotcakes. Zoe, waiting in Earl's truck, hopped out with Lucky tucked in her hoodie. "Daddy, the storm made a rainbow." Marcus knelt, soaked and smiling. "See, even storms paint." Lena snapped a photo. Marcus, Zoe, rainbow arching over sandbags. "This one's going on my wall," she said softly. That night, back on their porch, cicadas resumed their choir. Marcus spread the wrinkled ledger under a desk lamp while Zoe colored beside him. Figures and signatures matched Devin's department, not his. Hope lit his face brighter than the bulb. He texted a buddy still at Ajax. "Meet me Monday, got proof." Zoe yawned. "Daddy, Grandma used to say storms yank weak roots but feed deep ones." Marcus kissed her forehead. "And we're planted deep, baby." The kitten purred like a tiny generator. The house smelled of wet earth and cheap tea, yet Marcus felt richer than he had in months. Moral of the night: a storm may flood the streets, but it also floats secrets to the surface. The tree that bends with wind keeps its roots, and the man who bends with trouble finds the truth riding on the water. Chapter 4. The ledger that lit the fire. Monday dawned sticky and nervous. Marcus wore his one good shirt, still damp from last night's ironing, over a pot of boiling water. Zoe handed him a peanut butter sandwich wrapped in homework paper. "Fuel for justice," she declared like a tiny general. He saluted and drove to Ajax with Lucky the kitten stashed in a shoebox. "Emotional support," he joked, though the purring calmed his heartbeat. Inside the glass lobby, fluorescent lights hummed like gossiping bees. Devin leaned against reception, designer suit loud enough to deafen. When he spotted Marcus, the smirk slid off his face like butter in July. "Security," he barked, but Marcus raised the water-stained ledger. "Call him. I got receipts, literally." HR dragged them both into a frost-cold conference room. Marcus's buddy, Tamika from accounting, laid fresh printouts beside the soggy page. Numbers matched, signatures matched, and every fraudulent transfer led straight to Devon's login. Devon sweated through his silk shirt. "Those files are fake. He doctored them." Tamika snorted. "Boy, you can't even doctor ramen." While HR typed furiously, Marcus's phone buzzed. "Landlord deadline. Rent due tomorrow or locks change." His stomach dipped, but he kept steady. Pride had no time for panic. HR finally spoke. Investigation reopened. Marcus suspended with pay this time. Devon on immediate leave. Small win, yet not rent money. Out in the parking lot, Devon cornered him. "You think this is over? I know people." Marcus squared his shoulders. "I know truth. She's louder." Devon scoffed and peeled off. Tires squealed, ego bruised. Rain clouds rolled back in, low and heavy. Marcus's minivan refused to start, battery dead as last week's memes. Lena happened to pull up in her blue pickup. "Need a lift, Super Brick?" He tried to decline, but Zoe and Lucky meowed their vote when Lena offered juice boxes. On the drive, she blasted old-school R&B, windows cracked so Petrichor and Sweet Magnolia rode the bass line. Marcus caught himself humming harmony, tension easing like a tight shoe unlaced. She detoured to Big Earl's site. Earl slapped the van's hood, declared the alternator fried, then did something wild. Handed Marcus a folded contract. Earl and 3 crew had pooled savings to start a side business, handy bricks and blocks, selling reclaimed materials. They wanted Marcus as partner and face of the brand. "You bring brains and jokes, we bring muscle and trucks." Upfront advance, $2,000. Enough to pay rent, buy groceries, maybe even real cereal. Marcus blinked hard. "Why me?" Earl shrugged. "River told me, Storm showed me, sometimes God hides diamonds in mud." Lena chimed in. "Plus, your smile's good marketing." That night, Marcus, Zoe, and Lucky picnicked on the living room floor. Real cereal, cold milk, no cardboard. Zoe asked if Lena was his girlfriend now. Marcus coughed into his spoon. "Easy, coach. Life's still playing defense." Outside, thunder rumbled like distant drums, but inside the tiny house, warmth bloomed. Moral of the night: when fire burns the dry leaves, hidden seeds feel the heat first. And that same blaze cracks them open so new roots can drink the rain. Chapter 5. The Orchard that fed the town. Spring rolled into Magnolia Heights like a choir in bright dresses, all birdsong and honeysuckle. 6 months had flipped by since Marcus signed that brick and block contract, and the old riverfront lot now buzzed with forklifts and bass-heavy playlists. Handy Bricks and Blocks was officially in business, so official, in fact, that Ajax Solar invited Marcus to a shareholders' meeting to clarify recent events. Translation: they smelled a lawsuit. He stepped into Ajax's marble lobby wearing jeans dusted with lime and a smile dusted with mischief. Lena tagged along as legal witness, though she mostly waved her phone like a reporter. Inside the boardroom, Devon was already sweating through a fresh suit. HR rolled out a projector. Tamika clicked a slideshow that spelled out every crooked dollar Devon moved. The final slide showed Devon's signature next to the ledger Marcus had hauled from the flood. Gasps bounced off the walls like ping-pong balls. Devon's chair creaked as security escorted him out, cuffs gleaming under LED lights. The CEO tried to hand Marcus a reinstatement letter plus hush money. Marcus shook his head. "I got a new gig stacking hope, not spreadsheets." Instead, he asked for one thing: Ajax's abandoned peach orchard on the edge of town, the place accountants wrote off as worthless. The board, still dizzy from scandal, stamped approved just to make him vanish. Back home, he found Rochelle's sedan in the driveway, trunk stuffed with designer luggage. She stood on the porch, makeup flawless, apology rehearsed. "Marcus, I was wrong. Sierra misses you. He raised a gentle palm. "Storm's over, Rochelle." But the river changed its course. Zoe peeked out, hugged her mom, then pointed at the orchard deed in Marcus's hand. Rochelle's eyes followed the paper like a cat watches a laser. She offered a shaky smile. Marcus simply said, "This farm belongs to Zoe. Your room is her decision." Zoe thought long, then invited her sister to stay weekends. Rochelle could visit when her heart's ready. Saturday after payday, the whole crew, neighbors, and a gospel trio caravaned to the peach orchard. Branches drooped thirsty and wild, but Marcus saw promise. Big Earl hollered, "Let's wake these trees." They pruned, watered, and planted veggies between rows. Lena painted a wooden sign, "New Hope Orchard, free fruit Sundays." Kids chased Lucky the cat through weeds. Elders set up folding chairs and told stories while the sun slid low and gold. That evening, Marcus lit a bonfire. Sparks drifted into the purple sky like tiny prayers. He passed mugs of peach cider, then cleared his throat. An old African proverb says the tree that shares its shade never worries about axe blades. We were cut deep, but we used the scars to plant blessings. So if you ever feel buried, remember, seeds only grow after they're covered in dark. The crowd hummed amen. Lena slipped her hand into his. Zoe leaned against his leg, eyes reflecting flames and future. Somewhere beyond the orchard, the river murmured, content with its new path. Moral of the story, a heart that chooses kindness over payback turns stolen ground into common ground, and the harvest feeds more than the hands that planted it.